Hi, I'm Bonnie Crater. I'm CEO of Full Circle Insights. And we're going to continue our discussion on funnel metrics in our training video 2. So let's go back to what we talked about in training video 1, just to do a quick review, and then we'll move on to a new topic. Okay, so first of all, we talked about funnel. We talked about the 5 stages in the funnel: inquiry, MQL, SAL, SQL, and close. MQL stands for marketing qualified lead, SAL stands for sales accepted lead, SQL stands for sales qualified lead, and close is a closed deal. The leads come in the top of the funnel and the deals come out the bottom. There are 3 important metrics associated with the funnel. There's volume. That's how many leads are going through the funnel. Velocity. How fast do the leads go through the funnel? And that's typically measured in days. And then what are the conversion rates? So what percentage of the leads actually convert to a deal or convert from stage to stage? So you can measure any of these metrics for each stage in the funnel, or for the entire funnel, or for part of the funnel. And those metrics are very useful in calculating how well your marketing is performing. Now, let's take a look at volume and just take a deeper look at that particular metric. Okay, volume. So say I draw a chart that looks like this. And on the x-axis or horizontal axis, we have time. And we'll do time in days because that's very typical on how to measure lead velocity. And then we're going to look at volume. So this is the number of leads that are going through the funnel. And say I draw a chart that looks like this. This is saying that the number of leads is actually going down over time. That is very bad, especially if you're trying to grow a business. So obviously you want to have your number of leads growing over time to actually grow your business. But then the question is, how many leads do you really need in order to achieve your goals? So what I wanted to do was to go through a pretty simple example and talk about how to calculate how many leads you actually need to generate. Okay, so let's take this very simple example and say you want to generate $100 in sales. And say your average deal size is $50. So that's average deal. And say, when you look at that, you say, okay, we need to generate $100 in sales. Our average deal size is $50. How many deals do we need? Well, that's easy. You need 2 deals to achieve your sales number. Then the next thing we need to know is our conversion rate. So we need to know how many leads we need to put in that will generate the number of deals that we're going to close. And so when we look at last year's results, we'll have a conversion rate. It's a percentage. So typically in the software business, it's 1%. So let's just use 1% conversion rate as our overall conversion rate. So lastly, what we're trying to figure out is how many leads we actually need to generate based on all of these numbers. So the way you calculate that out is you say, okay, I have 2 deals, and I divide that by my conversion rate of 1%, and that says, okay, we need 200 leads in order to make our sales number of $100. These 200 leads, this number actually gets affected by the length of your sales cycle. And this is an important factor in calculating the number of leads you need to generate. So the other factor that we also need to calculate is what percentage of the leads does the marketing team need to generate versus the sales team. Sometimes that's split 50-50. Sometimes the marketing teams, in some companies, the marketing team might carry the entire ball, right, and have to generate 100% of the leads needed to close. But in many companies, that number is split between sales and marketing. So these 2 additional factors are something that we're going to talk about in our webinar, which is happening on January 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and we look forward to having you join us for this webinar.